Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are, whichever part of the world that you're watching me from. I'm here to talk about something that makes me very sad. Now, this concerns the death of someone I consider my younger sister, that is Dorothy Bosibori Ongera, which happened on 17th of December in Texas, United States. Now, at the time, the story that we were told when everybody was asking what happened is that she drowned in her bathtub. Now, that doesn't make sense to anyone, does it? But then the family went ahead and tried to follow due process. And at the time of her death, she was cohabiting with one Mr. Obadiah Kemri Kinara. Now, Mr. Kinara, apparently, when the family was trying to find out what exactly happened, expecting that he would be all cooperative and everything, I think what it is now coming out that he may have had another plan. I am not saying he is responsible, but I want to share with you the story so that you can also make your own or come up with your own perception of what may have happened. Now, at the time, the family was never given the chance to even view the body. Apparently, Mr. Kinara, the story then, or what was said, is that that was a crime scene, and they were never allowed to go and view the body. But then, what saddens me now, what we are trying to ask questions about, is that the autopsy, according to what is now emerging, is that an autopsy that was conducted by a funeral home found that there was no foul play. So the family accepted and said, okay, fine, so no foul play, we will proceed and start making funeral arrangements. So, but then Mr. Kinara did not want to let the family even have access to the children. And I'm talking about the family because Uncle David Ongera is in the United States, and two of Dorothy's siblings are also Americans. Now, none of them has been allowed to see Dorothy's body. They have never been allowed to know exactly what happened. So that you judge, it took an application in court for them to have custody of the children. Now, Mr. Kinara has refused to pick calls. He has never answered his bell at home, and it leaves a lot to be desired. So they had to try and go to the funeral home to get the body or be told what is happening, only for them to be told that the funeral home is under instructions that Mr. Kinara is the next of kin, and nobody else, including her own father and mother, is allowed to do anything. So that is the point at which the family has become curious, and they have gone ahead and said, something is not right here. This man is not answering calls. He is not responding. He's probably home, and he doesn't respond whenever somebody tries to ring a bell to get access to the home. So the court granted custody for the children to the family of the deceased, and the children are in the custody of a family. And that is the point at which this man has disappeared, Mr. Kinara, and he's not in communication. The funeral home has refused to give any information to the father, the biological father and mother of Dorothy. And it is because apparently Mr. Kinara says he is the only person with the authority. So they go to court, and the lower court, that is the district court, I may not be very clear in terms of what the description is, but I understand that the district court declined to hear the question of who is the next of kin, because Dorothy, by the time she was leaving Kenya to the United States, she had a legally recognized marriage with Mr. Mosi, Mr. Nyakundi Mose, I think. And they've been cohabiting with Mr. Kinara for the last 4 years, but Mr. Mose is here in Kenya. So there was nothing legal about the union between Dorothy and Kinara, and there has never been a formal divorce with Mr. Mose, who's the husband from the time she was here in Kenya. So what has happened is that the family then decided, the father, that is Mr. David Ongera, decided to go to court. But the district court in Texas, I believe that is in Texas, declined to hear the matter for lack of jurisdiction. Now, lack of jurisdiction essentially means that the court says it does not have the power to hear and determine such a case. So what happened is that that matter was now referred to a higher court which has jurisdiction on matters to do with kinship or contentious family ties. So this matter was referred to the probate court number 2, and before Judge Brooke Allen, I believe. And during what Mr. Ongera has been asking is for conservatory orders that nothing happens to his daughter's body until the matter is heard and determined. So on Friday, the court meets to hear and determine, to hear the notice of motion and determine whether or not they're going to give conservatory orders maintaining the status quo, that the body will remain in the mortuary for the duration of the hearing and determination of the matter. So that is the point at which everybody was shocked, because Mr. Kinara's lawyers came to court and they said the matter had already been overtaken by events because Dorothy's body is already buried. Yes, Dorothy's body is already buried. The family is not aware. The father, the mother, no, her own children, nobody knew about this. It was done in secret, so the court was only told on Friday. And that is the point at which the court directed the lawyers for Mr. Kinara, who was not in court, by the way. The court proceedings were on via Zoom, and they were streaming live on Facebook, but Mr. Kinara was not appearing. Only his lawyer was there. Mr. David Ongera with his children and Mr. Mose alongside the lawyers attended the court session via Zoom. So the judge ordered that yes, the conservatory orders were granted, and therefore when now the advocate for Mr. Moses say that Dorothy's body has been buried already, the judge was shocked, and that is the point at which she directed that they say exactly when, where, and how they could proceed to bury Dorothy without the knowledge of her biological kin, and without, and astonishingly, in the middle of litigation. You hear? So as we speak, the family was told by the lawyers that Dorothy is already buried. They were shown the grave. We're going to show you the pictures of when some of the members of the family went to see where Dorothy is buried. It is a sad story. The question I am asking, the family, all the family want to know is what exactly happened to their daughter, to their sister, to their mother. Those of us who knew Dorothy from her time as a young girl, we are asking what happened to her. Let me just show you where apparently she was buried by Mr. Kinara.
Mom. Mom. Mom.
Thank you for the blessings.
Mom.
Maro chiri ga kyun tayo lera mi kore.
Mom. Mom. Mom, why? Mom. Mom, I'm in pain. Mom. 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 Mom, open your eyes. Please. Open your eyes, please. Please, Mom, I miss you so much.
You've seen and heard for yourself. Are you asking yourself the same questions that I am asking myself? Are you asking yourself the same questions that Dorothy's family are asking themselves? Can you imagine the pain of her children right now? You've had the emotions. So the question that Mr. Kinara must answer is, why all this? What are you hiding? Isn't it obvious that now whatever the bathtub story and everything is all a story that you coined up? You say that you were not in the house at the time Dorothy apparently drowned in the bathtub, that you had gone out to fuel the car, and everybody who knows says it has always been Dorothy fueling the cars. All you do is just kick and rev the car. What are you hiding? Why did you bury Dorothy at such a lonely place? Why did you do this without telling the family? Are you that heartless? You feel nothing for those young children who would have loved to at least have a moment of closure by witnessing the final journey of their mother? Are you that heartless, Mr. Kinara? What was the hurry? You know the family has been in the process of making arrangements to bring Dorothy home. Then you go ahead and do that. What are you hiding? Where are you at the moment? What exactly made you so heartless? Those are the questions we're asking those of us who know the pain of losing a loved one in circumstances that are unclear. It pains. It pains. Now we are beginning to put one and one together. The family is beginning to ask questions. And so that our people help me, those who know you, those who may have an idea of where you are. Abanaba minto, I'm now coming home. Abanaba minto, wherever you are. Umogusi, umanyeto badia kinara. That is what he has done. Abantu bamwabo Dorothy nkolera bale. Abana ba Dorothy babwata mayanda. Nina Dorothy. Tatu mwabo, abana ba mwabo. Ebabwata oburorobo be. Onye kumanyete nganga yi umumroyo, umugakoyo, umusacho yara atoke. Koranche give information. Because Wonoiga, the court, there's a hearing on the 12th of February of this month, which is next week. And there will be another hearing, I think on the 23rd of March. And this man is nowhere to be found. This man has already otindikire Dorothy. Mbororo kiobo. Inke oseka kobisa. What is Mr. Kinara hiding from the rest of the world? If indeed it was just an accident, a normal domestic accident, why all this drama? Why all this circus? I want to ask one final question. And this is something that, based on the information that we have, that makes us think that all along this could have been his scheme. If you speak to Dorothy's siblings, and they will tell you that sometimes she has been coming and asking for prayers in the family group. She has been doing it. And all we are asking is, what is it that Kinara is hiding? What are you hiding? It emerges that it is less than 4 months since Dorothy took a life insurance cover. I don't want to talk about the figures, but it's millions of shillings. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars. And apparently Mr. Kinara has already been paid that money. She had taken life insurance cover for all the children, valued the same as her own. We hear, Mr. Kinara, now you're looking to find ways of getting paid on behalf of the children. Could money have the motivation? Is it a case of homicide? You have already pocketed millions of shillings in dollars of her life insurance. No wonder you're in a hurry to have her buried. To the American criminal justice system, this is a cry for justice for the Ongera family, for Dorothy's children, and everybody that cares everybody that is hurt by her passing. We want to ask that Mr. Kinara is taken as suspect number one. He should be the prime suspect in all this. There can be no two ways. We ask for justice. I think there is a bond of $2,000 that has been deposited, but as it is, Judge Brooke Allen of Probate Court 2, this man, from the look of things, is definitely a flight risk. And I want to ask Attorney Amy Lawrence that you need to move as fast as you can, as quickly as you can, to ensure that you file the necessary documents that Mr. Kinara does not run away from the United States, if he has not done that already, because it's definitely a flight risk. I'm shaking from the pain. I can imagine what those children are feeling like. I can imagine what everybody else who cares for Dorothy is feeling like. But be as it may, I'll come back to our native language. Amantoba moabo Kinara. Ono mwano ino. Mangana yu akorire moya igwete. Mangana makongu ye chimuma. Etokobori na ki. Ondo igwete asare. Mochibongera nkorera bale. Igoro enyaruka yabo nkikiabete. And anybody in any part of the world that knows where this man could have gone to, if he is not in the United States already, please volunteer information so that the family of Dorothy can have closure. It is very sad. Very, very sad. Once again, to the Ongeras, to Dorothy's children, and to the entire family, accept our condolences. Poleni sana. Tuko baakira ngora. And we ask that whoever is watching this video, wherever you are, commit this family to the Lord in prayer. And we hope that the American justice system will ensure that they get the justice they are crying for.